I used to devote time on my channel to making videos about improving credit scores. As you know, I have a 850 perfect credit score that I've been maintaining for a while. I've tried on my YouTube making videos about how to shop for real estate, how to purchase houses. I've tried to make videos about, genuine financial advice. Please forgive me because I just had a nice large cup of margarita with my bae, my boo, my girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, bae, boo. I don't know how to pronounce that shit. But I had a nice large cup of margarita, and I wanted to get this video out just to add it to the rest. And the reason why I've been slacking off on making more of those videos is very simply because the Passport Bros content has been so much better for my channel. You see, my subscribers have increased. The Manosphere content that I experimented with went nowhere. It turns out the Manosphere really doesn't spend much money. They don't pay. They don't really support channels unless they want to specifically support channels. But the Passport Bros, man, it's been the gift that keeps on giving. I swear to God, it's the easiest content I've ever seen. And, as a, founding Passport Bro myself, it's extraordinarily easy to make the content. But I did want to post this video about this story that was in Yahoo Finance simply because, it fits in line with some of the advice that I've tried to give in vain. Because the reality is, nobody wants to hear you tell them that they can't afford something. That's just the reality. I've had friends, I've had clients who ask me, oh, what do you think about, me going out and buying such and such a thing? And I've told them up front, it's like, listen, you can't afford that. It's like, I understand your finances. I understand what it costs to own this, to buy this, to rent this. And I was like, listen, you can't afford it. But most of these people will move hell and high water to prove you wrong. But what ends up happening in the real world is they end up deeper in debt. And then when something so unlikely as the Federal Reserve raising interest rates happens, all of a sudden that debt becomes crippling. And they end up so deep in debt that now they're coming asking for money, asking to borrow, asking for handouts. And you're like, wait a minute, I warned you. I warned you not to go in this direction, and you went in it anyway. So this is the story. It says, tip of the negative equity iceberg. A record number of Americans are grappling with $1,000 car payments and drivers can't keep pace. Stay ahead by dodging these two loan mistakes. Now, I've kind of talked about this before. During the COVID pandemic, I would say somewhere around mid-2020, some of these dealers, these unscrupulous dealers, what they did was they were offering you, listen, come buy this car, drive away. We won't even make you make any payments until blah, blah, blah. 2021, January 2022. We won't make you make any payments for the next 16 months or something like that. They were determined to get these vehicles off the lots. They were looking for any cash that you had. They were looking for tax payments. You pay the tax on whatever you were buying. They were making crazy ass loans, especially when you look at Dodge and their SRT products. They were making ridiculous, crazy loans. They were selling some of these cars. Now, this was before they started marking everything up, but they were trying to sell everything off their lots. Some of these people ran out there and they hooked up with these crazy ass car payments. $1,000 a month became the norm when buying something so simple as a Toyota RAV4, so simple as a Nissan Rogue. These people are spending $1,000 a month. And that's not even factoring the cost of insurance, because when you factor in the cost of insurance, insurance in many cases ruins a lot of these car loans, because what initially sounds affordable, suddenly because you throw the insurance in, now it becomes unaffordable. Says with a record 16% of American consumers paying at least $1,000 a month for their cars, it's no surprise that drivers are starting to fall behind on their bills. The percentage of borrowers at least 60 days late on their car payments is higher today than it was during the peak of the Great Recession in 2009. This is a bad comparison, I think. The average price of these cars has vastly increased. For example, if you were to look at a 2009 Mercedes S-Class, for example, that car started around 90 something thousand dollars, right? Now, if you look at it, those cars start around 110, 115,000, which means that there's at least $20,000 thrown on. Basically, you're paying an inflation tax. If you look at other cars, Lincoln Navigator from 2009, you might have been looking at a $70,000 to $80,000 truck. Now you look at a Lincoln Navigator, you're talking about $90,000 to $100,000. Look at an Escalade, same thing. Now they want $140,000 for an Escalade in some cases. They're trying to get you so high over the sticker. And the sad thing about it is a lot of these people signed up for these stupid loans where they were paying over sticker. Guess what? Your insurance company only covers you for the MSRP. They're not covering what you paid over sticker. So it's like if you buy a $100,000 Corvette Z06 and you pay $200,000 for it, the insurance company ain't covering you for $100,000 over the sticker price. They're not. A lot of these people, you'll probably notice a lot of these new cars that have been leased, these people have used these cars and they're trying to get rid of them. They're trying to drop them like bad habits. And the sad thing about it is a lot of that money is haircut. They just lose it. It just disappears. It just goes, it just flies into the wind. Rich young Americans have lost confidence in the stock market and betting on these three assets. These are a couple of other stories. I'm not going to read those. There are multiple factors driving this trend. Car financing costs are climbing as the Federal Reserve continues its aggressive campaign of interest rate hikes to combat persistent inflation. Well, first of all, the Fed can't fight inflation unless it raises interest rates to meet inflation. If inflation is 11%, it has to raise interest rates to 11%. I will tell you right now, that's not going to happen. They don't have the stomach for it. 11% interest rates as an interbank lending rate, that would boost your home mortgage 30-year fix starting. You'd probably be seeing a 9 or a 10% interest rate, maybe higher, depending upon your credit. Fed ain't got the balls for that. Same thing goes for cars. Same thing goes for credit cards. If they boost those interest rates up to 11%, and that's assuming inflation is at 11%, because it actually is probably a lot higher. When you take a look at how much it costs you to buy milk, eggs, bacon, any food that, I want you to notice something when you walk into the store. If the food can't be substituted or faked, it has gone up vastly in price. Milk is costing you more. Eggs are costing you considerably more. If you try to buy bacon, it's costing you considerably more, probably 30% more, maybe even higher. Anything that can't be faked has gone up in price. If you try to buy those nasty-ass chicken strips, or if you try to buy like any food that has been processed heavily, instead of them just ripping it off the animal, chances are that's gone up considerably in price. Sausage, they can keep the price down because what they do is they put more filler in it. Those chicken tenders and chicken strips and that garbage that you're feeding your kids, that has probably stayed about the same in price because you can substitute stuff in that. You could put anything in there, for God's sake. You could chop up squirrels and nobody's going to notice. But what's next? It says, at the same time, used car values are dropping, leaving debtors at risk of owing more money than their cars are actually worth. Just about everybody's underwater right now on everything. Housing prices are much, much higher than the equity behind them. That means that most of these people are behind, or most of these people are underwater on their mortgage. Cars are the exact same thing. Most of these people are underwater on their car loan. And that's just what it is. And by the way, if you've bought anything with your credit card and you still owe a balance on your credit card, chances are whatever you bought has either depreciated or no longer exists. Because some people are buying groceries with their credit card, but you eat your groceries. Thing about it is, if you haven't paid that credit card bill off, then you're still paying for something that no longer exists because you already ate it and shat it out. So you're underwater on your damn groceries. if you really think about it that way. As your monthly car costs increase, you can dodge a debt default by avoiding two common auto loan mistakes. Hold on 1 second. I'm starting to get dry. Let me get this margarita in me. God damn. Wow. Used car prices surged during the pandemic due to supply chain challenges, which forced buyers to take out bigger loans with higher APRs for their vehicles. Despite the fact that car prices started to cool off by the end of 2022, a concerning trend of auto loan defaults and car repossessions has started to surface. The percentage of subprime auto borrowers who were at least 60 days late on their bills hit 5.67% in December, trumping 5.04% in January 2009 at the peak of the Great Recession, according to the credit rating agency Fitch Ratings. Ally Financial, Nice Ally, one of the largest providers of car financing in the U.S., said its percentage of car loans that were more than 60 days overdue rose to 0.89 in quarter four 2022, up from 0.48% a year earlier. Vehicle repossessions are also reportedly on the rise after a sharp drop at the start of the pandemic when Americans were boosted by stimulus check welfare checks. And lenders were more willing to turn a blind eye to late payments. These repossessions are occurring on people who could afford that $500 or $600 a month payment 2 years ago, but are now everything else in their life is more expensive. Said, yeah, you see, it was really easy for Chrysler and Dodge to sell you those Hellcats 0% down when gas was $2 a gallon. But when gas hit $5 and $6 a gallon, yeah, well, a lot of those cars, they were traded in. In fact, I've been seeing fewer and fewer and fewer of those cars, especially like those Challengers and Charger Hellcats. I've been seeing fewer and fewer of them. I almost never see Durango Hellcats. I almost never see Trackhawks. Most of these gas-guzzling, wasteful, impractical cars they've dried up. Now, and I'm not even talking about the ones that have literally been stolen during gunpoint robberies. I'm talking about in general. All right. For instance, you can take a look at your current auto insurance policy. If you have had the same one for a while, it might be time to shop around for a better rate. It might be time to shop around for a better rate. You've probably noticed your auto insurance has probably gone up. Now, I'm in New York City. Our insurance has continued to rise. I don't know why, considering they've made it so difficult to go past like 25 miles per hour without getting a goddamn ticket. But our auto insurance has gone up considerably. Auto insurance usually breaks a lot of these deals. Like, for example, most people are like, oh yeah, just save up cash and go out and buy a used car. Well, here's the problem. If the used car price has been inflated, and now you've saved up cash, your $10,000 ain't going to buy you that same piece of shit Nissan Maxima with 100,000 miles on it that it would have 10 years ago. Now you're facing $15,000 or $20,000 for that same car because the auto loans for used cars have gone up. But on top of that, now you're facing an insurance company that's going to say, oh, yeah, well, if you have the car and you bought this car, right, it's got 100,000 miles on it. Yeah, well, it's going to cost you $600 a month to insure it. So they're damn near charging you car notes for your insurance. Beware of negative equity. If you owe more on your auto loan than your vehicle is worth, known as being upside down, then you have negative equity. Most people right now have negative equity. These cars depreciate faster than sinking stones. They give you a couple of examples, but I already know what negative equity is. You can read this yourself. And then they say, don't go for the longest term. So that's one of the tricks that they always use in order to get you to be comfortable with the monthly payments. And this is one of the mistakes people always make. They come in and they say, oh, yeah, well, all I can afford per month is $500 a month on the car. So what do? They stretch the loan term out as long as possible, which almost immediately calls for negative equity to happen. Like, for example, if I take a $50,000 car and I say, okay, well, it's a $50,000 car, I'm going to give you 36 months to pay it off. Chances are your monthly payment might be somewhere around $600, depending upon what the interest rate is. But if I take that same $50,000 car and I say, yeah, well, I'll give you 8 years to pay it off, your monthly payment drops probably by half. So instead of it costing you $600, maybe it'll cost you $300. And that's, again, that, depends on the interest rate and whatever. Most of these people out here are buying shit that they can't afford so that they can flex. Most of them are renting. They're driving their wealth. They're not saving money. They're not saving up to buy a property, buy a house. Many of them don't want to buy a house because they don't want to be rooted down. They don't want to be stuck in one place. That's kind of understandable. Here's the problem, though. It would be one thing if you didn't want to be stuck in one place, but it's another thing that now you're stuck in the car because you're spending so much money on monthly payments for the car note. So they're not saving. They're spending all their money on the car. As soon as something breaks on that car that isn't covered by warranty, that's when they feel it. Tires have gotten more expensive. Brakes have gotten more expensive because these people go out, they buy this goddamn Kia Stinger. I keep hearing people talking about Kia Stingers. Like, I know people who don't know shit about cars. They're like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting a Kia Stinger. I actually know people like this. And I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, listen, there's nothing about that car worth you buying it because chances are this is not going to work out well for you practically. And the thing about it is, what people don't seem to understand is Kia Stingers come with like Brembo brakes. And Brembo brakes are much more expensive to fix than regular brakes. Not only that, but when you're dealing with these performance braking kits and performance tires, if anything goes wrong, the entire car is basically thrown out of balance, and all of a sudden it just doesn't drive as well. All of a sudden it doesn't stop as well. All of a sudden it doesn't feel the way it's supposed to feel. And just being in it is a constant reminder that you've got to fix something. That's what it is. So these people can't save any money because between going back and forth to the gas station and paying higher prices on that premium fuel, because now you got this turbocharger in your car. You got a twin turbo in your car. Well, guess what? Now you got to use premium fuel. So you're in the premium fuel club. Yeah, it was cute when premium fuel was $2 a gallon, but now it's $4, $5, $6 a gallon, depending upon where you are. Guess what? This year, gas is going back up. Chinese are about to start their factories back up. Oil demand is about to re-increase itself. You're going to feel it everywhere. That's why I'm so desperate to hurry up and buy my electric car and get the hell out of gas. Because I already know that the energy market's being manipulated. The countries that we should be friendly with are being alienated. Gas prices are being artificially forced higher. That's what it is. So the reality is you got these high gas prices, high maintenance prices. You've got a vehicle that demands a higher car note and it demands higher insurance cost. At the end of the day, your wealth, what should have been a well thought out debt to income ratio when you were buying this vehicle was thrown right out the window, and now you're spending way too much. Says you can also grow sick of your car during a long loan term, leaving you stuck with years of payments you're loath. No, you stupid shoddy journalist. You'll loathe to make. Jesus Christ. I'm drunk. In fact, let me get more of this margarita. I'm drunk and I can still point out your spelling error. Oh, yeah. I'm drunk and I'm still pointing out spelling errors. With years of payments, you'll loathe to make, or with negative equity that you'll have to carry over if you want to buy another car. That's where they get you. When you have negative equity on your car, dealers throw out numbers that they think you'll accept. Because the thing about it is, if you didn't owe anything on your car, now you'd be in a position where you could demand what you wanted for your car, but the dealer is still going to try to lowball you. Because what he's trying to do is he's trying to make you put down money and your car because he's going to turn around, sell your car, and take your money. That's just a reality. So, sadly enough, a lot of people are going to be stuck. Like, let me tell you something. And I said this a couple of times. Anybody who's running out there right now and buying one of these gas guzzling cars is going to regret it. Anybody who's running out there right now and buying one of these flashy show off cars, especially from Dodge and Chrysler, when you finally have to bring that car in and you finally experience how fucked up their under Stellantis, how fucked up their warranty repair services, then you'll understand the reason why I'm taking my money over to Cadillac. And then, now that I'm even looking at Cadillac, my car should have been ready a long time ago. Then they changed my order and said it's going from 2023 to 2024. They're not going to start building it until April, and I won't see it until June. If I'm lucky, it's possible I might not even see that car till August. I really don't know because they're not communicating, they're not telling us anything. The only people who are getting their cars are getting the initial run of debut editions, and even those cars were sitting on their lot languishing while GM was working out recall issues. So those people who did get their lyrics, they got rear-wheel drive lyrics, and they're driving them. A lot of people are experiencing bugs and issues, and the only way to fix those bugs and issues is to take it back to the dealer. If it wasn't for the fact that this car that I'm ordered, if it wasn't for the fact that this car was so unique, I would simply cancel my order and take my money over to Mercedes. The only other option is a BMW iX, but I would consider a Mercedes EQS or even the EQS SUV. And Mercedes would bend over backwards to make that deal. They're offering $10,000 off right now. GM is offering me $5,000 off, but they've raised the price $8,000 between my 2023 order and my 2024 order. They think they're slick, but no, I've been paying very close attention. So even though I'm not buying this thing first of all, I refuse to pay over sticker for anything. And if I want something, the beautiful thing about it is if I want to buy anything up to about $120,000 car, if I want to buy anything up to that point, I can go to that dealer and I can sit down and I can tell him, guess what? I'm not paying over sticker. So either I'm going to pay the MSRP on the sticker or I'm getting up and I'm leaving. The choice is yours. And I'll just say it just like that because I'm a very shrewd negotiator. I've got an excellent credit score that I'll throw in your face and I will absolutely make fun of you as a dealer. I'll be like, listen, I'm not paying over sticker. You can't make me. So I give you the option. Either you sell it to me for sticker or I get up and I walk out of here. Don't bother trying to come stop me. I'm just going to leave. Believe me, right now, Mercedes will bend over backwards to sell me an EQS. They're offering $10,000 off. If I demanded more off just to get me to sign that paper, yeah, they'd do it. BMW has that iX just to keep me from signing that paper with Mercedes. All I got to do is tell them BMW iX dealers, hey, guess what? Listen, Mercedes is offering $10,000 off. So are you going to do the same thing, or should I just get up and leave? Oh, well, we see here you have excellent credit, and we see here you have money and you have a trade-in. So I think we could do that deal. You goddamn right you could do that deal. But that's what it is. It's a buyer's market. If you've got cash, you've got power. If you have credit, you've got power. Those people who have shitty credit scores and have no cash, well, you don't have power. The people who have bad trade-ins, like all these dudes who are going to have these fucking Hellcats that are vastly depreciated. Oh, but I thought it was going to be a collector car. I thought they were going to offer it. No, it's not. It's plastic. They're not offering. The sad thing is they think these things are going to age like 69 Chargers. They're not. There's a reason why the 69 Charger commands the prices it commands. Guess what, guys? You bought a bunch of plastic cars, and there's only but so much they're going to offer you for them. They're going to depreciate. They're going to depreciate quick. And that's just the reality. So my thing is, a lot of people are stuck in these $1,000 a month car notes. And especially these people who ran out and bought these Acura MDXs and these BMW X5s. And some of these people bought these BMW X3s. A lot of these people are in $1,000 a month payments. A lot of these people are paying $899, $999, and then they got insurance costs as like $400 or $500 a month. Oh, well, I'll just use my first paycheck to pay the car note, and I'll use my second paycheck to pay the insurance. That's where they are. So you can see it for yourself. The default rates are up. These people are getting hurt right now. I've seen tow trucks towing these cars look brand new. I've seen boots on cars because people didn't pay the car note. They put a boot right on your car, and you got to call the city to get a code to remove that shit, and that's only after you pay them money. I videotaped a guy. I don't remember. I don't think I used that footage because I didn't want to use it. I videotaped a guy literally forcing a boot off his car. I really did. And I know I sent that to a couple of friends, but I didn't use it on YouTube because, it was a privacy issue. And, I didn't want anybody coming after me for a privacy issue. Because God forbid I have to use this Desert Eagle. God forbid it's going to make a big mess. So I just said, you know what, I'll just not use it, because it's a privacy issue. But that's the reality. A lot of people are getting stuck in these ridiculous payments, driving their wealth, and they played themselves, and that's just it. So just like this guy here with his head on the steering wheel, oh my God, I can't believe this. How am I supposed to pay my rent? I've got to keep up the payments on this Acura RDX. Yeah, well, they played themselves. They were warned. They played themselves. We are facing tough economic times. The Federal Reserve has raised interest rates, but they're not finished. They're going to keep raising them because they are so determined to stick it to Putin. They are so determined to, they call it fighting inflation. They're not fighting it. Until you see interest rates go up to meet the cost of inflation, they are not fighting inflation. It's just that simple. This is simple economics. But see, the average American don't know simple economics. That's the reason why you're paying $1,000 a month for a depreciating act. That's why you're paying $1,000 a month on a goddamn Honda Civic. That's why. It says Type R on it, bruh. It says Type R on it. You know what that means? It means roar. Uh-huh. That's right. Yeah. You're paying $1,000 a month on a goddamn Honda Civic. So obviously the average American doesn't know shit about economics. That's the reality. The proof is in the pudding, the proof's in the numbers. So the simple fact is they're trying to stick it to Putin. Gas prices are about to go up because they're also trying to stick it to China. Gas prices are about to go up. Any of you who are stuck in a gas guzzle right now and you're upset about the fact that you're paying $3.80 a gallon for gas in winter, yeah, well, guess what? Summer's coming. And when summer comes, fuel blends change. When China opens up the factories again, fuel economics is going to change very rapidly. You've been warned. So there's people right now who are looking for cars. Well, please do yourself a favor. Buy something practical. I hate to say it, but if you can get a four-cylinder, get a four-cylinder. They're not going to let you speed in traffic anyway. They got fucking speeding signs are set to 25 miles an hour, for God's sakes. Get a four-cylinder if you can. Get a six-cylinder if you can. If you can afford an EV, get an EV. Charge that shit at your house. That's what I plan on doing. But that's basically it. This story is probably not going to get that many views because most people really, they don't really care so much about economics. They don't care about it. They just want what they want, and that's just it. So, I just felt like posting this video, and now I'm going straight back to Passport Bros content.